And welcome back to Bitcoin Advizers channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from a lovely little Westlake Village, California. It's Monday, it's bright, it's early, and it's time to get into the crypto charts. We're going to talk about Bitcoin price action, actually peeking in on NASDAQ here, closed a bearish engulfing candle last week, giving us a downside bias coming into this week. Looks like on the daily time frame, we're going to at least test 15,000 and maybe go for that gap fill. As NASDAQ's pulling back, you'd expect dollar's been rallying into this trend line. Remember, this is the line in the sand back above 103.50, and it's going to look bearish for risk assets. Volatility is declining on this move, so you would expect maybe a little more sideways action, and then we play out the move, the big move to the upside of the downside. What else are we going to talk about today? Kind of the narrative out there is this, that, well, the consumer, the American consumer is very, very strong. Job market is strong. And it's called US Consumer Exceptionalism, saving us out of this recession, so to speak. And the Fed Ballard, I think it was out this morning saying, look, we are not done yet with the rate hikes. And I will say this, checking in on the bond market really quick, is that just because interest rates are at a, 22-year high doesn't mean it is a horrible environment for Bitcoin. Why? Because the markets are always forward looking. So perhaps the markets are already pricing in the fact that the Fed is going to have to cut at some point and print more money. I personally don't think that's the case right now, as the stock market just had a massive rally and massive rally. So the 2-year is up at 4.76. The 10-year coming in at 4.1. And wow, it looks like, what's the weekly going to say on this one? This is the one to keep your eyes on. I believe the 10-year, as these bond yields go up, it's typically not the sign of health and prosperity that you want to see for a booming economy. Okay, that's it out of me for interest rates. What else we want to talk about? Coinbase is launching their base protocol this week. It's a layer 2 on the Ethereum protocol. Could be one of the biggest trading events of the year. And shout out to Crypto Banter for picking up this narrative on the CEO on the Coinbase stock, which is getting killed right now. But considering this, that the base layer or this Coinbase thing is supposedly similar to something like a Binance Smart Chain. Binance Smart Chain at the peak of the market took $100 billion market cap. Currently, Coinbase's market cap is only at $20 billion. So what does that mean? Essentially the Binance Smart Chain was much bigger than, the biggest crypto exchange listing on the NASDAQ. So, maybe it's undervalued. I don't know, but it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Just want to make people aware, there are other investments out there like Nvidia, like Amazon, like Apple. Apple pulling back hard. Nice. Where would the downside target be off of the bearish divergence, which is going to be coming all the way back from this pivot right here. So market it off. 1, 2, 3 clear highs. I'd be targeting the 21 or the green 55 at a minimum, and perhaps the bottom side of the range for Apple, as it just made a new all-time high. And as long as we're above that green 55, more importantly, above this 382, or the 618, excuse me. Yeah, no, it's as long as we're above this level right here, Apple's looking healthy. So I'm just going to draw that in there and move on here. Moving on. What else I want to talk about? PayPal launches a dollar-pegged stable coin. Well, that's good because apparently Tether's having some troubles. So just wanted to bring that to our attention as well. And then this other narrative, Justin Sun potentially crashing the market this week, had something to do with Huobi, his exchange. So if you guys don't know Justin Sun, I think he's one of the billionaires that got early in crypto. And essentially his exchange here, let me see if I can find it. There's all the Tether FUD. I believe this is it here. Huobi, the exchange. Essentially, Huobi's current total balance is 2.5 billion, of which 662 million is Tron. That's Justin Sun's coin. 500 million is HT. 884 million is Bitcoin, which is supposed to cover all the 3 billion in Bitcoin issued on Tron. And so if there's 3 billion issued on Tron and only 2.5 billion on the exchange, not a good thing. 168 million is HBTC. So that's not even close to 2.5 billion. This leaves with 286 million in other assets. So just, potentially some, caution in the markets instead of being aggressive. Instead of being overly aggressive right now, it might be a time to be more conservative. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. Price action controls everything. Price action trumps everything. And that is why, we were able to identify this pivot here on the market way back when. I'm going to bring this to our attention. We have a similar formation actually forming here as we had this falling wedge. Well, it looks like we have another falling wedge to the downside. But after an impulsive move and a higher high, and you expect, right, at some point you get gravitation sucks you back into that 618 fib. And that's coming in right here at 26,646. And I'm going to just make sure I have this laser sharp here. Which haven't quite tapped that 0.5. Probably going to bounce there at 28.3. And I go wick to wick using my Fibonacci retracement tool in a more volatile market. And yeah, that 618 is coming in. Actually, I'm going to leave that box there. Give it a little room. Give it a little room. Close enough is close enough. And essentially, we were expecting a pullback from some time ago and identified the bearish divergence, played out the move to the green 55, and essentially, patience is a virtue. Boring times in cryptocurrency. Everybody says it's extremely boring right now. Well, it's not, in fact, in my opinion. So it looks like definitely going to come into some volatility this week. At least that's what everybody's saying. It doesn't have to be this week, but daily volatility is compressed on the floor. Momentum is now crossed to the downside. So if we do see expansion for the second time, well, pressure is on the downside, just like it was going in, well, back here. Yes, and it led to some continuation. We did talk about this. The weekly time frame is also at one of the lowest levels in weekly volatility history. We also have a bit of a, confirmed high here. So, targeting even the bottom side of the range is not out of the question. If this does want to have some follow through. And the other thing everybody is talking about today is the Gaussian channel, which this is the point for the bulls right here on the weekly time frame. This is the first time we have turned green in 3 years on the weekly Gaussian channel. And we're also coming into the top side here. So that's where you expect your bounces to play out. Going back in history, let's take a look. How many times have we flipped from red to green in Bitcoin's history? Well, and this will show you from red to green. 1, 2, 3 times. So only 3 times in Bitcoin's history. As you can see, mega massive moves after flipping green on the weekly. Well, that was a 15,000% rally. This was and notice how we did bounce right off the top side of the Gaussian channel. Now, this does point out another fact. If we do lose the top side of the Gaussian channel, right? And then, the next target down is going to be the median band. Lost it there, came back to the band, lost it here to the band, Lost it here to the band. So pretty consistent there, and pretty consistent on past prior bull markets, getting a bit of a test off the top side and then going for a bit of a rally. So I thought I'd bring that up. And this is the BLX index, so it hasn't populated the weekly time frame yet. But if you look on all the other major exchanges, let's see if CME flipped green. I doubt it did. Oh, it did. CME flipped green. That's even more bullish for the bulls. Okay, stables coin supply ratio is going down, and I did want to bring this chart up as we've been keeping an eye on this, saying when is the altcoin market going to become a altcoin party or rally or altcoin bull season, whatever you want to call it. Specifically, we said, well, first we want to see a closure below there. A closure below here, any kind of a wick below there, a bit of a fake out there. You noticed altcoins rallied as tether dominance dumped. Now what's happening as tether dominance is putting in a low, getting expansion on the daily. That's not looking good for altcoins. As tether dominance goes up, well, typically altcoins will pull back. So keeping an eye on this, and specifically if we start to really break back down, that'll be your first warning sign. Alt season is coming. And checking out ETH Bitcoin pairing. We did talk about this channel and what will happen if the channel breaks to the downside. This would be bearish for altcoins. So getting a bit of expansion on the daily, momentum's to the downside. So it looks like we are going to test the bottom side of this channel, giving us the bearish bias over the next couple of days. I don't know if you guys saw over the weekend, Shiba Inu coin pumped like 20% and currently selling off hard alongside XLM and XRP, all getting the shaft here, as you would expect if Bitcoin is pulling back. So jumping into the meat and potatoes of the Bitcoin analysis price action. You can see pressure is onto the downside and potentially going for a bounce here on the 4-hour time frame. We're only 30 minutes into this closure after, attempting to close below that wick. That is going to be an important pivot on the market. And generally speaking, I'd say if you wanted to tighten up the range a little bit on the 4-hour closing basis, that is going to initiate those targets down. And the first bounce target is going to be right around here at the 1618 at 28,279 or 28,300, somewhere in that zone. And then we'll judge it from there. Pressure's onto the downside. As long as we were below 28,986, which we are currently below right now. So chance to flip it back to the upside, and that would definitely be a bit of a bear trap. Where would the bear trap come in? Well, yeah, closing back above the purple 200. And what you essentially would want to see is something like this, a whip up here and then base around here and then take off on the 4-hour. If we're going to break to the upside, hey, sometimes it comes quicker than not. So just be prepared for both sides of the equation. And specifically on the daily time frame, waiting to get bullish back above 30, I think 31,000. Yeah, 31,000 is going to do it for me. Not ready to get bullish until we get back above there. There's a lot of selling pressure in this area. So, people that are going to be probably re-entering some shorts. I don't know. I think that's it. So 4-hour range. 4-hour range. We're calling it 28.8 to the downside and 29.5 to the upside. And that should, I don't know, the 4-hour hasn't really been doing it here. 12-hour is pointed down. And it does look like it wants to at least give an official test down to the purple 200. Close enough is close enough right there, but losing the PMARP, and volatility is now declining on the 12-hour. So we could base out all week long, probably gonna give it another day or two if there's any more economic news coming out this week. But yeah, reminding us, again, price action trumps everything. And as I said in the video, and I said at a little barbecue this weekend to a friend of mine, he's like, well, if you had $10 million, would you be comfortable holding it in Bitcoin? And he said, well, I'd say, short term, like a couple months or 6, 12 months, maybe. I don't know. Needless to say, the weekly trend is up and to the right. And as long as that is happening, I think I'm going to bring on a new chart to make this a little more easy to see. And I'm going to draw this out like this. So essentially, what do we have here? A rising channel. And as long as we're in this channel, then points for the bulls. Points for the bulls there. Can I draw it from here? Let's see. Sideways and up. Sideways and up. That's what we want to see. And maybe you call that a deviation if we are going to be like that. I think log scale will make a little bit of an adjustment. No. So you could have a range within a range here, but I definitely think as long as we're holding this trend line up and to the right is the name of the game. And just short-term pullback as we get some volatility, some more FUD in the market, and that could be the next major opportunity. And where am I ready to get bearish again? Well, dollar back above here, and NASDAQ, back below here at 13.5, and definitely we'll be talking about some lower targets. Other than that, I hope you have a blessed and highly favored day. I'll be back tomorrow with some more crypto updates, and have a great day. Take care.